All right, everyone, welcome back to the Healthy Body Podcast. I am Brianna Wilkerson, your host, and today we are continuing our theme, talking about exercise and fitting and fitness with Stacy Stills, who is just a really great person to talk to you about this. I think one of the things, Stacy and I were talking about this earlier, just that when it comes to exercise, we think it has to be in a traditional gym setting or we have to do it for such a long time. And really, we can really fit it in if we're just very intentional. So I just wanted her to kind of share a little bit about that and share how she helps women in that as well. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. And again, my name is Stacy. I am the founder of the Fit Mom movement. So I help moms to get fit 5 minutes at a time. You heard me right, 5 minutes at a time. And I focus on exercising and also on self-talk and healthy eating. So a lot of times we don't value ourselves enough to be physically active. And I think that that's one of the things that I learned along the way. There's so many benefits of being physically active, and we just don't make the time to do what we need to do so that we're healthy in mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I realized that, you're talking about who do we want to reach? And one of the things that I realize is that I think you're similar. It's about honoring ourselves and about really seeing that we have the value and worth. And so we should want to and prioritize ourselves in such a way that we take care of that healthy body, and through fitness, through nutrition, through self-talk. Mind you, man, self-talk, that is the thing. If women spoke a lot nicer to themselves, things would be a lot different,
Yeah. So true. True.
So tell us a little bit about your story. I know that, you used to really be, into the gym and used to love working out. And then you had 3 boys. And just were like, okay, how do I fit in fitness being a mom with 3 boys who are usually very active, right? High energy. And so tell us a little bit about how your journey went with that.
Right. So I have a bachelor's in exercise science and nutrition. And then growing up, I played sports. So in high school, I did basketball, I did volleyball, a little bit of badminton, a little bit of track, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I even went on to play Division II basketball in college. So I have the active spirit, but a lot of that changed once I settled down and got married and started to have children, because my priorities started to change. So while my biggest concern after college was going to my 9 to 5, and then I had no other responsibilities after that, so I could go to the gym for 2 or 3 hours, and come home and be fine, I had to change that. There's also something that happens when you become a mom, physically there's a difference, mentally there's a difference, and then in actuality, your everyday life is different. And I think that that's what I struggled with. So a lot of times when, I was a new mom, I wasn't sleeping good. I wasn't eating good because I was given everything that I had to my child. So, you just grab what you have and you eat out of convenience instead of healthiness. But I noticed that over the period of time of me having my children, I wasn't at my best. So I wasn't talking nicely to myself. I wasn't eating healthy. And I was trying to get some of the baby weight down so that I could be physically healthy as well. And I knew that I couldn't make it to the gym. It was just unrealistic. Having a baby under the age of 1 would drive, I just knew that it would take 2 hours to get the baby together, get me together, find a sitter, get to the gym. And after all that, is it really worth it? You could go to the gym for an hour without this, but then if you have this situation, it may take you 4 hours. So to make a long story short, I had to use my expertise. I had to use my passion of being physically active. And I also had to use my knowledge of the importance of physical activity and figure out how was I going to make it work for me. So I decided to create these like 10-minute workouts that I could do at home, just with like the little dumbbells that I had, or maybe just some calisthenics or, things like that I could use my own body weight for. And that is what worked for me. That is in part what transformed me back to being, at full potential, with getting enough rest, with the self-talk, with the confidence, and all those things that go along with being a whole person, especially as a woman and as a mom. So that's a little bit about how I got to where I am today. Let me just make sure I turn off my thing, so you guys are not hearing my notifications. But that's a little bit about how I got to where I am today. And then I've transitioned from caring for myself and to now caring for other women as a personal trainer and group exercise instructor. I help moms and women alike who are too busy to get to the gym to incorporate physical activity into their everyday life, at home or in the office or in the closet or wherever you are. And I always, you may have a prayer closet, go in there, you do some japping jacks and some squats in the closet. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you have the mindset that I can fit in fitness anywhere I am, then it takes the stress off of and the complexity off of trying to figure out how am I going to be physically active.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You said so many great stuff there. Just the idea that you started with recognizing you weren't at your best self and that you were not caring for yourself holistically the way that you deserve. And I think that's where it starts. When you start to say, hey, I deserve more, then you start to say, okay, what can I do to get back there? And then you just took what you knew. I had another podcast interview with Jennifer Espinosa, and just the idea of she just started with one step at a time. Like, what do I know to do? I know to drink more water and then make that habit and go from there. And I just love that you did it at home. So when I started exercising too, I think people see like, oh, well, she does CrossFit now, all this stuff. I got some DVDs and I just did those DVDs. And it was awesome. And I loved it. And they told me what to do. And so I just did it. And I was consistent because I could fit it in anywhere. I didn't have to worry about, do I have the car today? It's like, oh, just wake up 10 minutes later. And I love that it was short because I think, and you highlighted something there, it does not have to be long. And actually sometimes longer isn't better, depending on what you're doing. Like actually, doing this, coming to a point where it's intense enough, not intense where you're going to pass out, but intense enough to get you the results you want. And sometimes those workouts are actually short. Like, there's this workout we do in CrossFit called Fran, which is just like thrusters and pull-ups that men and women who are like really fit will do it in like 3 or 4 minutes. I'll probably do it in like 7, but your heart rate is so up that it takes you like 20 minutes to recover because it was, and so I just love that you're like, hey, it doesn't have to take long and you can do it easily. Just kind of start, don't make that excuse that you can't fit it in.
Right. And I think that as women, we're generally givers and nurturers of everyone else, but we tend to put ourselves on the back burners and we tend to put ourselves on the bottom of the priority list. So we always say, oh, we'll get to it, or I can't get to it. We make excuses is generally what we do.
Yeah.
But we're taking care of everything else and everyone else, and my motto is kind of that you can't give from an empty vessel. So if, I have this cup here, it has a little bit of water in it, but if it has no water in it and I try to pour from it, I'm not going to get any water from it, no matter how hard I try. And I think as women, if we're not taking care of ourselves and putting in the energy and putting in the things that we need to be our best, then our family and friends are drawing empty. They're drawing a blank from us because we can't give them what we don't have.
Yes. And I think, as I've been reflecting on this more, back in the day when women were primarily at home, they had space, they had time to take care of their kids and then themselves. But I feel like we've developed this complex where, oh no, I can work full time and even overtime. I can have some kids and I can do the PTA. And of course I could do intramural soccer.
I can do it all.
Of course. And then we come to this point where we actually either burn out and then, we have this adrenal fatigue and all this stuff, or we sacrifice something that is a big priority to us. And I just think we need to come back and realize that this idea of doing it all is actually a myth.
Mm.
you
You're
know?
you're speaking to my spirit right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm the go-getter kind of
Mhm.
personality. So I understand that. And there's some times where you have to tell yourself, this is not for you to do, or this is
Yeah.
not the day for you to do that. And I think that with exercise, it kind of combats that kind of do it all kind of thing. This
Mhm.
is 5 minutes that I'm going to dedicate to myself. And even if I don't feel like doing it, the benefits and the rewards are greater than what I'm feeling right now.
Right. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And I hear my clients say all the time, oh my gosh, I felt great
Mhm.
afterwards. I didn't want to start, but I felt great afterwards.
Mhm.
And that's really what we have to think of when we're trying to be consistent with our physical activity or our exercise program.
Yeah. So then tell us a little bit more about exactly how you help moms and women. Like, what does your program look like? Tell us
Mhm.
all about that.
Of course. So I have what I call Tighten and Tone program, and that is basically our online fitness classes. So I teach probably about 3 fitness classes a week, and there's different memberships depending on your fitness level and depending on how many times you want to work out a week. So I do a lot of variations of classes. I'll do boot camp, I'll do kickboxing, we might do a cardio blast or a HIIT workout, which is high intensity interval training. So I do the gamut. And what I do is I try to accommodate moms and women who are busy and of different fitness levels. So not everybody is a fitness quote unquote guru like me. You may be the mom or the woman who, never was physically active, didn't really like PE class, but now you want to become physically active. That's okay. So I do a 15-minute class, and I segment it. So you could do 5 minutes, and I call you the 5-minute clubbers, or you can do 10 minutes. You're the 10-minute clubbers, or you can take the entire workout and you're the 15-minute clubbers. So I break it down to you, and that's kind of my mission for you to get fit 5 minutes at a time. So if you're just starting out and you don't want to be doing all this crazy stuff that I may have you doing, fun, crazy stuff, then you just do the 5 minute, and that's the warm up, and you meet yourself where you are. If you've been doing it for a while and you want, like you talked about earlier, Brianna, you want to go hard for 10 minutes and you want to feel the burn and feel the sweat, you give yourself that 10 to 15 minutes, you work out at home, wherever you are, with clothes, without clothes, who cares? You just get it in.
Without clothes, preferably.
And then you go on about your day.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of what I do. And I do it just like we're doing here. You and
Mhm.
I are recording on one of the the recording apps. I do it just like this,
Mhm.
where I could see the people who are participating in my class. They can see me, and I'm instructing them how to do every single move.
Mhm. That sounds awesome. And yes, doing it works out. I just think it's so great because I think it's we were talking about it is a mindset thing, especially when it comes to fitness. Okay, say yeah, I've started, but oh man, like this person over here is doing 10. Maybe I should push to 10. Like,
Mhm.
and I actually love, even CrossFit, I love at our gym is everyone, so you have people there who've been there 10 years working out in the same class, people who just
Mhm.
started. But it's not about, okay, who is doing more or who's doing less. It's about you doing your workout and encouraging one another.
Right.
As well as us coming to a point where we are okay with not being the best all the time. And I'm a high achiever. So sometimes I'll work out with my husband who's
Mhm.
super,
Mhm.
super fit. And he's done like maybe 10 minutes before me. He's like, great job, honey. You got this. And I'm like looking at him like, what? You just sit down, you finish. But I'm like, that's not good. Like I'm doing my workout and I need to just say, hey, Brandon, great job. You came today.
Mhm.
You may not
Right.
be your best. You may not beat him, whatever.
Right.
I just think we live in this competitive age where we're constantly competing, constantly comparing, and
Mm.
really we're missing out on our best because we're trying to be others or, trying to just be and sometimes even an old version of ourselves,
Mm.
like before kids
Mhm. Mhm.
or when
Right.
you weren't injured or something. And I just
Right.
think if you can come to the point where you're like 5 minutes is good, 10 minutes is good, 50 minutes is good.
Right.
you'll just really start to be, fit and take care of yourself.
And I think I agree with you. I think what you said, meeting yourself where you are right now at this moment, meeting yourself where you are in the present and accepting that. And that's okay. That's all right. And that, and when I'm actually teaching my clients in class, I'll give a basic variation of the same move. I'll give an intermediate, and then I'll give a full body. So depending on where you are, some people may not be doing jump squats. They may just need to do a squat walkout. That's okay. It's all about where you are and where you want to be. It's not about the person that's next to you.
Yeah. And it's just so empowering. When I just feel like when you can do workouts like that and you're like, oh, wow. Like when I learned how to squat properly, I was like, whoa, that just changed everything. Or do a pull-up or all these stuff. And I just feel like we need to empower ourselves that we can be fit. We can be strong. We don't have to look like super muscular, like all the, like you're not, unless you're like lifting mad weight and taking extra stuff, you won't get that big, So,
and see, and we talked about myths and things. This is one of the myths that women don't want to work. They don't work out. There's a lot of things that we say, our hair and all these other things. But then it's also because, I don't want to get bulky. I heard that a lot in the last couple years. But, I probably work out a good 3 to 4 times a week. And while I have some definition, I will never be bulky because that's just not my body type.
Right.
So it really depends on your body type. But even still, you're not going to look like a weightlifter or bodybuilder unless you have some other things going on outside of regular exercising.
And that goes back to what you're talking, the perception of beauty. Really, it's like, oh no, a woman who is beautiful is slender and is toned, but not too toned, because I've had different people, like maybe like they looked at my arms one day and they're like, oh, I really like it now, because before it was like really muscular. And I'm like, actually kind of offended. I'm like, I liked it the way it was before, or I like it now too. And it's just that perception that a woman is more feminine, a guy can lift things. Even sometimes you probably experience this. I'm going off here, but like I want to change the water filter and they're like, oh, I got this. I'm like, I lift heavier than this. I got it, but that's fine. I don't want to be prideful, but just that, like, we just need to break that perception and that myth that we can't be strong or we can't be defined,
I agree.
Yeah. So I went on a little rant there, guys, but I feel like Stacy was the one to do it with, because I just feel like we are missing out when we're not making fitness a priority, and also when we're like just scared to see what our body can do because we're scared of getting too muscular or whatever it may be. So for those listening, they're like, okay, I feel challenged and inspired to now start fitting in fitness. What do you feel is like the first thing they need to do? Biggest tip.
And I kind of put this a little bit on the webinar that we're doing that we have coming up. But there's a couple things that you have to do. You have to figure out what your motivation is. You have to have a plan and you have to have a goal. Because I think that all 3 of those things are going to keep you consistent. There's going to be a week where, you work late every week, or you had extra curriculum, every day that week, and you really didn't get in your exercise. What's going to keep you on track? That's normal. But some people will allow that 1 week to say, I can't go back to doing it. What's going to keep you on track to keep you going? So I would say that those 3 things are going to help you to stay on track, even when you don't feel like it.
Right. Yeah.
And the last thing is support. You're going to need support. It takes a village. You know how they say it takes a village to raise it takes a village to, reach your health and wellness goals.
And I feel like it's funny because by the time this airs, it would be done. I have an event coming up for a leadership organization. That's our theme. It takes a village. And I just think it's so relieving when you recognize you don't have to do it alone. When you recognize, like, and you even as a mom, I'm not a mom yet, but I've had a lot of moms come to me, and just when they realize that it's okay to need help, it's okay that their kid cries all night, like all these things. And I think as women, we think we need to be all together. We need to have
all the perfect,
time, right? And it's like, no, I love it when some of my clients are like, yeah, I actually had a burger when I told you I was going to have a salad. I'm like, did you enjoy the burger?
Right.
We don't need to be perfect, but it is important to look for help because we're not meant to actually do it alone. So
it's funny. I was just listening to a motivational, inspirational speech, and that's exactly what Joyce Myers was saying. And that she was just saying how, you're actually more powerful in your and your need for help than you are when you feel as though you don't need help. Because when we feel like we don't need help, that's that pride that we were talking about earlier. But when you're able to humble yourself and know that God has created someone or something to help you, then you're better off.
Yeah, we so are. All right. Well, thank you. I mean, I feel like I benefited so much from this. I hope people did as well. And I know you have a freebie that you're offering.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about that free resource.
So I could feel like we're all created to be fit. And when I say fit, I mean fabulous, irresistible, and totally hot, right? Because just what you just talked about, your perception of beauty, my perception of beauty, we're fit in our own way. So your fit may be to have long curly hair. My fit may be to have long kinky hair. Whatever your fit is mentally, in mind, body, and spirit, whatever that looks like for you, you were created to be fit. And a lot of times as women, we're not walking in our fitness. We're not walking in our fabulous, irresistible, and totally hotness because of all of these other things. So what I did is I put together an ebook that it's called You Were Created to Be Fit. And it's going to give you some of the excuses that we make. It's going to give you 35 ways that you can implement being fit today. It's not like you have to figure it out and do a puzzle and go buy all this stuff and then be fit. It's like, these are things that I can start to implement into my everyday life today so that I can walk in my fitness. And the link for that is bit.ly/fit creation.
Yeah. Oh man. Fabulous, irresistible, and totally hot.
And you got to do it like this. Totally hot.
With the snap.
with the snap.
That's awesome. No, I think you're right. I feel like we're so used to just like not liking how we look or looking to others that even sometimes when you feel a little confident, I'm like, like that looks good today. It's weird. Like
it is weird.
Oh, is that okay to say that? But it is. And so, okay, guys, make sure you check that out. I think I'm going to check that out. And then I'll also link it in the blog post. And then, so tell us where people can find you on the internet, in your website and your social media.
Sure. So my website, which we just actually got developed since we rebranded, it is fitmommoves.com. And there you'll find, a little bit more about us and how you can link up with us if that's what you desire to do. And then I am on, I would say mostly all the major, all the major social media outlets. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Periscope. And on all of those platforms, I'm Fit Mom Stacy. My name is STACI. So Fit Mom Stacy on all of those. Yeah.
So good. Well, thank you so much again for joining. I had so much fun on this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, guys, be sure to check out the blog post to get all the links that Stacy mentioned. Also, be sure to join the Healthy Body Community, my free Facebook group where we can unpack this podcast and keep each other accountable. So thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, guys.